All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Mary. I'm head of partnerships over at Synchrony, and Synchrony is a data automation platform for RevOps and Ops. So, perfect timing. So today's topic is around proof of partner influence reporting and partner ops. I know it sounds slightly boring, and your eyes kind of want to glaze over, but actually, it's to Ty's point, it's actually quite critical, right? Especially in this market, because everyone top down is essentially being asked to justify headcount, justify investment, justify tech stack, justify team members, right? And so this session, we have 4 awesome folks here who are going to share how they do that today within their organizations. And so it's going to be mainly around partner influence, obviously, which is typically the number 2 most important KPI in partnerships, right? So we'll start with you, Kris. If you could share a little bit. Our first question, and they'll intro themselves as they answer the first question. But our first question is, how do you define partner influence today in your org, right? And so when they talk about that, they will talk about their various org and how they define that. So go ahead, Kris.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. My name's Kris Lengieza. I'm on the partnerships team at Procore. We are a construction management platform, so a vertical SaaS company that serves mainly the construction industry. And I've been there about 4 years, came on board to stand up our technology partnerships program, and now lead all partnerships at Procore. I think the partner influence topic is a really great one, right? Because, like you said, we're all being asked to measure the impact that we're having inside of our business. And so when we think about partner influence at Procore, we're really thinking about how we are contributing to the deals that are coming in the door. And those could be net new logo deals. Those could be renewals. We do a lot of cross-selling and expansion. And partners play a lot of different roles in them. Sometimes they're sourcing those deals for us. Sometimes they're co-selling with us. Sometimes they're just actually providing influence, i.e. we have a partner, his name is Bob. He owns a large reseller, and we always say if Bob calls the account, it'll close the next day. And so when we measure that, we are really tracking every time one of those partners is involved in those deals. And then at the end of the day, we want to know of those deals that partners are involved in, are we doing a better job of closing those deals? Do we have a higher win rate? And that's how we justify, for lack of a better word, to leadership why we should spend so much time co-selling, engaging our partners, getting our sellers to understand the other technologies that are out there, and that's kind of how we define it at Procore.
Hi everyone, I'm Thomas. I'm Director of Partnership for Botify. Prior to that, I was Director of Marketing Operations, so did a lot of work on attribution and tracking results for different teams. And when it comes to partner influence for us, it's basically any opportunity for which a partner had a significant impact on the opportunity. And then the next question is like, well, what's the significant impact, right? Well, we have like we've defined a set of a list of what is a significant impact that goes from, as Kris said, sharing information between the A's from the 2 companies, or a reference done by one of our partners, or it can be also a introduction to the right person, the decision makers, to make the deal advance. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is showing that, yeah, partners have an impact on closing more deals, closing faster as well, and at a better rate. And that's what we're showing to our executive team with dashboard and Salesforce and everything. But yeah, that's how we define that.
Cool. Hey everyone, my name is Kris, and I lead the Tech Partner Program at Gorgeous, which is a customer support help desk platform for e-commerce D2C brands, primarily those built on Shopify, BigCommerce, et cetera. And how we define partner influence is really any material, provable impact that a partner can have on an opportunity mid-pipeline, so an active deal. And so the 3 primary types that we're looking at is intel sharing, right? So imagine we're able to connect our sales rep with our partner sales rep, who potentially maybe just closed this account, and now we're in a deal cycle with this same account, and they're able to give us a blueprint, essentially, on how to approach this. You're going to think this is the key decision maker, when in reality, it's this person, so things of that nature. Recommendation or advocacy, right? So if a partner is able to reach out to a brand and really put in a strong word, in some cases, because we're partnering with private companies who aren't so massive, sometimes the partner's CEO, in fact, is reaching out to these blue chip type companies that we're going after and really helping us get the deal over the line. And then the third type would be integration unblocking. So sometimes we actually might have an integration in place, but it's missing a key use case that would really help get us over the line, and we'll track that as well.
So, hi everybody, my name is Franz and I work for Hopin, and first of all I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time and listening to us today. I think some of you might be just frozen onto your chairs and can't leave, but we'll make sure to warm you up later today at the yacht party. About Hopin, we're a virtual and hybrid events company, and I joined the company around 2.5 years ago, so March 2020, when the world was about to lock down and the company was less than 20 people, was when I joined, and then we scaled that in 1.5 to 2 years to an $8 billion business. And I originally closed deals on the sales side, then helped build out our channel motion with events agencies, and then over the last 1.5 years, I was responsible for building out our app store from 0 to 50 partner apps. And for us, PartnerInfluence is really all about whether our customers are taking full advantage of our product. And that is mostly reflected by whether they are using the app store, because we can actively or actually prove that if you are installing apps and if you are taking full advantage of the adjacent services around our platform, so for example, translation software, accessibility products, gamification products, but also marketing automation and so forth around your events, you're more likely to host more events, and you're also around 30 to 40% more likely to increase than on average, to renew than an average customer.
Awesome. Yeah, so obviously heard 4 very different but almost same, right? Kind of emphasis on what is partner influence. But I actually have a question for all 4 of you, right? So how do you align partner influence attribution, right? Partner org to various other orgs of your business, sales, marketing, etc. And also, if I take it one step further, how do you, do these partner influence KPIs, do they roll up to the board? Do they roll up to, KPIs, quarterly KPIs? How do they, that's my question.
Yeah, happy to jump in on that one. So as far as how they roll up, I was actually at the board meeting last week, and I was asked the status of our partner attach rate, which is what we call it internally. And so definitely very visible inside of the company. It's personally what I'm gold on as an executive for leading that team. I think, when it comes to the alignment, people really understanding when it counts and when it doesn't, and the definition of the different types, I think are really important, right? So we actually have a rules of engagement document that is pretty clearly defined that we share with our sales team, that we share with all our partner account managers, that our RevOps team has, so that we can go back around and say, okay, this was influence, this wasn't influence. This was directly sourced, this wasn't directly sourced, with real concrete examples. And we use deals that we've been involved in before. And I think that's really important, because then everyone understands what it is, what's in and what's out. And once people, it takes time, right? So we just actually started reporting on partner attach rate at the end of last year up to the higher levels of the organization. So it took a couple quarters of them seeing the number repeatedly to have some faith in it, and also to understand hey, how quickly should it move? And we've basically doubled our attach rate in the last year. We started the year a little bit over 10%. We're at just over 20% of our deals, our net new logo deals, have partners involved with them. So obviously they're pretty happy with that performance, all at the same time while maintaining the win rates, a higher win rate than we do without partners, which I think is very important, because you can plow partners into deals, but if it's not actually helping you close them, what's the purpose?
Do you have a stat to share?
What the win rate is? Yeah, so ours right now is 48% of deals close when they have partners involved with them, versus something else when they don't.
That's actually awesome, right? It's rare to see a 48% conversion rate in any company. So to hit that mark is an amazing milestone. So.
Yeah, 48% is pretty good. We're not there yet, but we have a twice conversion rate when a partner is involved compared to when it's not. So that's a pretty big difference as well, and that's something that sales reps can get behind and get motivated by. I want to piggyback on the alignment because I think it's really core when you define something around metrics and dollars in a company. And like if you don't have alignment with the exact sales, CX, or marketing, like you're gonna end up being into a meeting, showing your result, be super proud about your results, and then you're gonna spend in the end more time answering questions like, oh, but what is this? What is that? Why is this? Why is that? If it's not clearly defined, well, all your work you've done, all the great results that you're so proud of, don't matter. So it's really important to take the time, and we took a lot of time, a lot of meetings with the exec team, with the CX, to really understand how they see that, how we see it, and come to like something that we could all agree on. And the list I was mentioning before of what is an impact from a partner into an opportunity, that's really it is that we came up with the entire team, so that they involved and agree on what's happening. And I forgot what was the second part of the question.
Does it roll up to the board?
Oh yeah. And so in terms of like so we created a dashboard in Salesforce that the exec team is looking at, and something that we've done is also showing the potential of partner influence. Not only what's in the pipe and what is already partner influence, but what partner can bring. And so basically by taking the ACV part per tier, and looking at the overlaps with Crossbeam, we were all revealed, by the way, we were able to say like, okay, there's potential 300 million in our TAM that could be influenced by a partner. And then we do the same with opportunities, like there's so much open opportunities overlapping with that many partners, and these account for like $50 million in pipe. And we do the same with customers. We have 400 customers. Out of those 400 customers, 250 also like are overlapping with the customer. They're paying that much. So this shows that we have X million in revenue that can be retained, and or at least helps to be retained by a partner.
Yeah. So for us, just to double click on the alignment thing, right? I think there's some simple steps to follow when launching the Partner Influence program within your organization. First and foremost, you need to track, right? Because if you can't pinpoint the impact that Partner Influence is having across your organization, then no one you're going to go to is going to give a shit, right, when supporting you to scale this program. So if you think about sales and success, for instance, the key KPI that you want to be able to clearly pinpoint with them is an increase in close rate and a decrease in sales cycle length, right? And so if you can't say that unequivocally what the impact and lift is you're getting from your Partner Influence process, then the sales is not going to support you in that process. And then likewise with success, once you advance your Partner Influence playbook to start focusing on churn risk and churn mitigation, and you can pinpoint the impact that your Partner Influence playbook is having there, then you're going to have some progress and inroads to working closer with success. And in terms of reporting and where it rolls up to, right now, similar to the rest of the panel, it's rolling up to our, the highest level we have on the revenue side of things. We're not quite at the point yet where we're able to like forecast with accuracy and really start setting specific KPIs for key individuals, but that's certainly something that we're advancing to once we have more data.
On our side, like when we think about like where partnership sits, like the number one factor we're contributing towards is renewals. So the chance of renewing a deal is roughly double when they have a partner involved or when they have an app installed than when it is a regular customer who doesn't have an app installed. So we want to really become part of the workflows of our customers. And a year and a half into like setting up the app platform and growing it to 50 partners, we spent a lot of time like analyzing our data, understanding which apps are driving the most renewals. And then we haven't reached a point yet where this is like reported directly to the board, but what we are, or where we are in the company, is that we have become like one of the 4 main data points our team uses to establish a customer health score. So we have an intermediary step right now where we don't report directly to the board yet, but our customer success team and like GTM org is looking very closely at this customer health score, which just exists like with 4 different factors, and like one of them is like how many events you host, but then one of them is also like how many apps do you have installed, and the more apps you have installed, the more likely you are to renew. So that's how we contribute directly.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I think many of us who are in subscription businesses, right, we're constantly trying to renew business. So a lot of times in partnerships we talk about directly sourced, closed won, new logo deals, you can't miss the opportunity on the renewal, the churn, the upsell, the cross-sell opportunities that you have as a business by involving partners. Very similar, like we have 450 partners on our marketplace today, and we're driving towards getting 5+ is the magic number for us. So we've found that when our customers install 5 or more apps inside of their instance, their gross retention rate's like 98%. And so, like, they're basically stuck with us at that point. And so I like to say, like, hey, like, you can track a lot of activity metrics, but you know that they're really leveraging the platform same way for y'all, that, they're going to renew, they're going to add more products, they're going to take advantage of that. And that's, for a lot of us in subscription businesses, the customer is a great source of growth, even without going to find new deals.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry. Yeah, real quick to top onto that. So that's a fantastic point to make. And another key benefit of tracking influence accurately is how you view your partners, right? So imagine you're in a meeting with your boss, might be the VP of partnerships, and they're saying, how's so-and-so doing? They're supposed to be one of our top partners. It looks like the amount of revenue they're sourcing you has gone in the crapper, right? And you're like, okay, yeah, that might be the case, but they've actually been quite instrumental in influencing some of our biggest deals that have been closing the line. Then he's like, well, great. He or she is saying, great, but that's not showing up on the scoreboard. Right? So when you're able to have this 360 view of your partners, where you're like, okay, they've sourced us this much direct revenue, however you define that, and they've been able to influence an additional set amount of revenue quarter over quarter, then you're able to really understand which of your partners are hot or not. So yeah, it's a benefit of tracking it.
Yeah, so it's a great segue, Kris. So I think everybody here would probably want to know, like, hey, this great strategic idea up here, PartnerInfluence, how do I actually actualize this inside my business? And I think, Kris, if you could share a little bit more about how you guys do it via NPS score, right? Kris Lavoie, because I think you have an NPS score model, right?
Yeah, we do have an NPS score model. So specifically on a per partner basis, right? We know if we look at accounts that are associated with a partner, meaning they're a customer of a partner, or that partner sourced us, we have clear health metrics around that partnership. And we also, similar to what Kris mentioned, on net revenue retention, we know what the magic number looks like for any given volume of integrations, meaning if they've hit a certain number, we know that that net revenue retention is going through the roof. And I think what you might be pointing to is maybe the conversation we had earlier today, or was it yesterday, about the balancing beam, essentially. And so, we have this great way of looking at our partners from a balancing perspective, right? Meaning how much value are we delivering to them, and how much value are they delivering to us? And once you can factor in something like influence, you have this holistic understanding of, okay, am I in debt to them, or maybe are they in debt to us, and maybe things are a little bit imbalanced there. So another example of why having all of this data and tracking it can be to your advantage.
I'm happy to jump on there. For tracking it, I would love to tell you that it's all automated and it just automatically shows up in Salesforce, but I think we all know that that's not realistic, right? And so I think it's a combination of things for us, right? One is there's the manual process, right? Hey, an AE or a partner account manager knows that a partner is involved in a deal, and we tag that stuff in Salesforce. We do a lot of the same stuff with the marketplace where we're feeding that information. So if somebody installs an integration, we can automatically track that. And then we like to close the loop. So similar, I didn't know if you were going this direction with your NPS score. We do a loop back with the AEs and the customer success managers that, like, once we tag somebody in an account, they basically get an email when that deal closes to say, hey, was the partner actually influential, right? It's great to have 5 partners to tag to, but which one actually made the biggest difference? It might actually not be the first one there. It might have been the last one there, right? And so we also kind of track and score that to make sure that we're keeping ourselves honest and not just tagging deals with partners because we know that they were mentioned or we know that we got a little bit of intel, but was it really valuable? Because that also helps us weight those partners that we want to do the most work with.
And I'm glad you do that because that's something I'm actually working on to implement in my company. So if it works, happy to hear that. Because as you said, there's a lot of manual work, and so we're trying to involve the sales to tell us when something is influenced by a partner. And stuff that we did, and actually we do the same thing, but one step before, it's at the opportunity level. when using like the account mapping data, we send messages to both the partner manager and the AE as soon as they open an opportunity to tell them, all right, you just opened this opportunity with this account. Did you know that this account is a customer of this partner? And this partner hear a bunch of information about the partner, Confluence pages, training videos, or you name it, so that the AE feels empowered to, first of all, go to the partner manager and ask more questions and ask for an introduction to the partner AE. And we send the same message to the partner manager as well, because we want the partner manager to see that and be proactive to reach out to our AE and say, oh, I saw that you just opened that opportunity. Let me introduce you to this guy from the partner, so that you start a conversation, share knowledge, get a decision maker or whatever in the pipe. And so by involving the sales, I truly believe that that's how they'll be able also to tell you that, oh, that deal I worked on was influenced by a partner. And so what we're implementing right now is trying to put at the end of the cycle, prompt the question, has that been influenced by a partner? And they would be able to say yes or no. If they say yes, then they put the partner in, and then we can circle back and say, okay, is it a truly influential? Because the last thing we want to do is say it's influenced by a partner on our side in the partner team, and have the AE and the sales team say, wait, no, it's not influenced. And so that's the one thing we want to avoid.
Yeah. I think that's super interesting because like at Hopin, we actually taken a little bit of a different approach because on the channel side, like we definitely tracked. We also used a Google spreadsheet in the beginning to track, and I have still nightmares of these Google spreadsheets. So when I was moved on to a different project to like build out our app store, I just told myself I will never touch a spreadsheet again. So we actually mostly leveraged data which was from the product. So installs, usage data of the apps and so forth. And like what that meant is that we had a lot less discussions this time around like, is this actually influenced or is this actually something which, you know, comes from a partner or not? But instead we just used the data we already have, and there was no arguing. It was a lot less like subjective and a lot more objective. The only time where your spreadsheets are involved is I outsourced a lot of the reporting to our partners. So we do like get referral fees for when we involve partners into auxiliary services like translations and accessibility and so forth. And all the reporting is done from the partners. So they track all the leads which are referred from the AEs or through lead forms. And then once, you know, a quarter or once half a year, like they send this to me. And there's actually a really funny story about that because originally when we wanted to implement this like partner referral program, I wanted like a lead tracking software because I didn't want to touch a spreadsheet. And then the team said, no, we don't believe that this has like a lot of value. So we just did it anyways. And then generated like a 6-figure revenue within the first quarter off of these referrals. And then I went back to the finance team and was like, can I now have this tracking software because now you have to deal with a spreadsheet. And yeah, that was a great way of proving the value first and then getting all your tools and processes set up rather than like, you know, trying to get all the tools and processes, nobody believes in it, and then you just kind of like get stuck before you even ever had your first partnership close.
That's pretty awesome. Proving the value and then getting the money. All right, so I know we've only got a couple minutes left, and I think we've all kind of covered influence, how we collect it through marketplaces, certainly cross-beam data, reveal data, partner tap data, growth, right, GTM, co-selling, and then as well as scoring and reporting, right? So I guess in our 60 seconds, could each of you share just kind of your one action item or takeaway that you would leave the audience with today if they were to start doing something like this?
Track something, anything, and learn from it. I think that's the biggest thing. You might determine pretty quickly that it's the wrong metric, but if you can consistently track it, and it's going to take a couple quarters probably to figure out if your action is actually going to make the needle move, and then you can iterate on it, and then maybe you change your metric. But that's my recommendation.
Yeah, I would say don't shy away from the conversation you have to have with the exec team, the sales, CX, marketing about what is partner influence. It's going to save you a lot of times down the line. So yeah, have those conversations, as many as needed. But yeah.
Yeah, I would say figure out which are the most important partners who can offer you influence, and then figure out how you can influence their deals, and then just sit back and watch the avalanche follow.
Crawl, walk, run. So like, if we hear these panels and all the other talks today, like this is like the Champions League of partnerships. Like you might feel like, oh my God, I'm so far behind. I don't have all the tools in place. I'm not using Crossbeam correctly. I'm not tracking all this data. My AEs don't want to fill in a spreadsheet. Like that's okay. Like this is like the flashy magazine cover of partnerships. Like when you're starting out, when you're building your partnerships for the first time, like look at the data you have already, or look at the data which is easy for you to get without training your entire sales team. Use that data to prove the value of partnerships and then start building out processes. But the first thing you need to prove is the value, and like using the data you already have is the easiest way to get there rather than getting lost in the tools and process nightmare.
All right. Yeah, no, so those are all like amazing tips, right? And I would leave all of you with one last note that all four of these gentlemen exemplify, right? Which is be thoughtful about the processes and the reporting that you need to do. Be able to, represent what your org is performing and, for the business. Certainly also, just because you had spreadsheets in the beginning doesn't mean you have to have spreadsheets forever. So always think about tools and platforms and automations that are gonna help you be more competitive, right? If you can serve the data to your team in real time, do that. And so, yeah, if I would say don't take the approach, if it's not broken, why fix it? You should take the approach. I'm innovating, I'm paving a path, I'm helping my company move to that next multi-million tier. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.